Okay, you're live.
Good afternoon or good evening, everybody. I'm Dave Cullen with 10 Minute Labs. And before we get started, I want to let you know that tomorrow, as a reminder, we have LCA Chapter 2021 starting at 8 a.m. Pacific time. There's going to be a bunch of authors speaking all day tomorrow, including Hal Alrod, Jay Papasan, Paul Morris, and Dave Osborne. So please join us. And let's go ahead and get started. I'm sitting here today with the pleasure of just having met Bryan Johnson, who's the owner broker of 361 Realty out of South Texas. And I asked Bryan, I said, well, why don't you give me something that I can tell people so they will want to listen to you. And I knew that he had some properties under management, but I was blown away by learning that it's actually 750 doors under management, in which 650 of those doors he owns. So welcome, Bryan.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me this evening.
Absolutely. And before we get started on the ownership of those doors, I will intro, just because we will have listeners on here that will be brand new in the business all the way through some pretty massive levels of success and seniority in the business. And I'll read what was sent to me earlier today, because I think it will resonate with some people. And Bryan said in the message, my largest challenge when I got my license fresh out of college with not a lot of experience and not being a good salesperson, which we could debate that, led him right into property management and investing, and later became a real estate appraiser and a property tax consultant. So Bryan, do you want to start with that and then talk to us a little bit about maybe some 10 minutes worth of advice that you could give to others that were looking to build the type of portfolio you now own?
Sure. I'll take it back to the beginning. I was working my internship in college, working for a law firm, running errands around Austin, Texas, shared an elevator with some Keller Williams agents. I know you're with Keller Williams, and we would ride the elevator up and down to the different floors, and I would hear the stories and see all the fun that they had. And I didn't have my sphere of influence in Austin. So when I decided not to pursue the legal career, I moved back down to Corpus Christi, Texas, and started working with a farm and ranch property manager broker. Spent a couple of years with him, answering phones, doing call duty, trying to sell properties, putting people in my car, driving them around, getting tired with that. He approached me with the idea of managing real estate, making some guaranteed income monthly without a whole lot of skin in the game. And so I started doing that for some people, really enjoyed it. As you can remember, between 2002, 2005, it was pretty easy to get financing with stated loan docs and 103% financing. So I was able to acquire a couple of pieces of real estate between then. Got my broker's license, decided to open my company in 2005 with an emphasis on property management, property acquisitions, and haven't really looked back. We started managing for other people. I saw the wealth that my clients were building, and so I decided to start purchasing my own properties. And over the years, we accumulated several properties. The market changed in 2008, 2009. And I wasn't able to sell very much. A lot of our clients were not wanting us to manage. They wanted to sell. When they realized they couldn't sell for what they owed on the property, they said, here, manage, find me a tenant, have somebody pay my mortgage for me. So we were, I think timing has a lot to do with business and with life and with opportunity. And that was a time where we were able to progressively grow our management portfolio. As I mentioned, it was a difficult market. And so I decided to reach out to some real estate appraisers and become a trainee. And so I was managing property. I was trying to do real estate appraisals for all the banks in town that needed foreclosure and REO appraisals and valuations. Started working with some of that, and allowed me to take the emotion out of the real estate and look more at the data. I believe that made me a better investor. I was able to appraise my own deals before I took them to the bank to request the financing that I needed. In Corpus Christi, there's a whole lot more people that can afford $600 a month than there are that can afford $1,600 a month. And so I chose to go towards the lower end of the spectrum and buy the trouble properties with a lot of value, upside potential that nobody else wanted to work with. And as a result, we've done particularly well in submarkets of Corpus Christi and been able to keep our portfolios full because we are right about the Section 8 pricing with good quality products that there's a great demand for. So that's
Wow.
kind of my opening.
Well, it's a great opening. And the thing that goes through my head when I hear that is, what do I do in the next 7 minutes to get a 10-minute lab out of this? Because there's so much to ask. So let me see what I can get done in that short period of time. So I guess as a value add investor who found a market that there's high demand, to restate what you just said, could you walk through the financials or the numbers of a past deal that sort of outlines your model, if you will?
Sure. We're working on one right now that we purchased in May of last year, 2020. And as you recall, there were eviction moratoriums, there was the early hold, and then later we got into the year with the CDC declaration. So we purchased this property. It was well known for affiliated gang members, prostitutes, a lot of drug handling, theft. There was a bicycle chop shop in the very back corner. It was about a 1 acre property with 10 small 1-bedroom units on it. Here in South Texas, we refer to that as little casitas. And so I was able to, this property was originally listed for sale for $300,000. And we had investors from Austin and Dallas and San Antonio, California, come down to Corpus Christi to look at it. And they liked it, but they couldn't find anyone willing to manage it because of all the problems. So I started my drip campaign on the different, I think it was 3 or 4 agents that had it over the life cycle. After it expired for the last time, I reached out to the owner. I ended up picking up the property for $150,000. It was not an insurable state, and so I put some roofs on it. I got a loan with 15% down. Told my banker that I was going to need some construction, so I had interest-only payments for the first 6 months. We're now getting into the principal and interest payments. We've redone all of the units. We kicked everybody out. When I purchased the property, I gave notice to everybody to save their rent for the next 60 days and move out so that we wouldn't have to go through eviction. I wasn't sure if eviction was going to be an option, but there was that small window in June, July, August where it opened up. We were able to get some of the troublemakers out with the writ for possession and the sheriff's office. So we cleaned up the neighborhood. We're putting it back together. We're going to do an over 55 senior community there for folks on fixed income. I think each of the 10 units will generate about $600 per month. So my monthly payment will be $1,200. And I'll be bringing in about $6,000 a month when I get the occupancy up.
One quick question. Great model. What did you spend by the time you put the roofs on and get total money in? So your acquisition cost was $150.
$150.
What else did you spend?
I was able to finance the roofs with my banker as the first draw from the construction loan, and so it cost me $2,000 a roof, $20,000. So I'm all in probably about $220 right now with the out-of-pocket expenses for fixing the units up and remodeling them, bringing them to a safer condition, something that would meet HUD standards and pass an FHA appraisal. We don't do any Section 8 housing or voucher housing, but we want all the properties to be in a good condition so that they're safe for our residents and affordable.
Got it. So you're in for, say those numbers again. Sorry, I didn't write that down.
Probably 200, 215 all in.
And you're bringing in 6,000 and your payment is?
Our payment's about $1,200 a month.
And what's the new value after repositioning?
After as stabilized, and we haven't 100% leased back up yet, but as stabilized, I'm thinking probably between 2.25.
Okay. And then what's your long-term strategy or short-term and long-term strategy for that product?
Most of my long-term strategies across the board is to buy and hold. I rarely flip real estate unless it's just an opportunity to cash out some money and put it into something else via 1031 exchange, or just pay my taxes and move it over if it seems like a better opportunity. Not a whole lot of competition in our market at the lower end because of all the work and the elbow grease that goes into making the properties ready and dealing with the tenants in the neighborhoods that I work in. So it's been kind of a niche market for me. I really enjoy it. I used to manage property for doctors and attorneys out on Padre Island that had, $500,000 homes, and wasn't really the clientele I was looking for, nor that I was attracted to. So I've been kind of raised in a middle income family, and I just try to do what's right, and I like working with normal people, and that's the realm that we work in nowadays.
No, I think it's fantastic. So let's pretend someone is about to go down that path, and try to follow what you've done, or maybe they're adding that type of model to their portfolio for investing. And there's definitely a lot of things that could go wrong or pose challenges and be unexpected or blindside investors. What advice can you give in regards to that?
Well, you're right. There is always the unknown. And in my limited experience and just my opinion, I'd rather have an unknown pop out at $150,000 than I would at 1.5 million. We've got other facilities, mini storage, trailer parks. We have some high-end stuff. We were joking earlier about, I'm glad I don't own a lot of office space right now with COVID and everybody working from home. But I think as a general rule, you start small, you build your confidence, you build your portfolio, you build your banker's confidence and the team that works with you. And as you grow, everybody grows stronger, and you try to minimize those mistakes, but mistakes are going to happen. And like I mentioned, I'd rather make mistakes that cost $5,000 or $10,000 and not $50,000 or $100,000. And so playing at the bottom of the barrel, working with the affordable housing, money solves problems. When we find stuff, we work hard to fix it, but we have not found a problem that's killed any deal so far in 18 years.
Got it. Well, that's fantastic. We have about 1 minute left. So I guess the one question I would want to ask you is, oh no, I lost my train of thought. What I was going to ask you. Oh, I was going to ask you about deal sourcing. How do you generally source those deals? Has that evolved over 18 years? And is there anything that you want to share with the community to help you bring some new deal flow to the table?
Sure. That's an excellent question. And I wish I had a real good answer for it. We work in a small, irregular submarket of South Texas. And over the last 18 years, I've been chairman of the board for our local association a couple of times. I volunteer within the realtor industry. I serve on committees at the state, and I've made it apparent to all of the agents, all of my friends around here, that if they bring me deals, they get both sides. They make the commission. I just want the deal. I'm not interested in taking, their fee. I think they're working hard, but they know what I do. And everybody knows that I like to buy mobile homes. I like to buy dirty property. I like to buy the bad stuff. And so kind of got a name for that. And it's a reverse trickle effect, I guess. My banker sent me a book for Christmas, Tales of a White Trash Landlord. And I didn't know if I should cry or if I should laugh about it, but it's a pretty funny book, and I get some of the same stories out of it. And so I think, be honest with your friends, let your friends rely on you, tell them what you want, buy the good deals, agents, don't sell the good deals to your friends, and find your niche market. There's a lot of different realms within real estate to have fun and to make money and to be successful. And everybody doesn't have to sell houses to do it. So,
well, that's great advice. And you know what? If we go a little bit longer than 10 minutes, we'll let these guys edit it down if they need to. But I have one more question.
Yes,
you
sir.
mentioned committees at the state level. I'm very curious to see what the list of involvement looks like. And, because those relationships, all about relationships, as you're saying, a relationship,
right.
integrity, honesty. Go ahead. What has your involvement been?
For the most part, it's been geared towards the property management committee. I've served on professional standards. I've done a lot of governmental affairs work. It's important to know your city officials to make sure that they're not trying to shove any kind of rent control down your throat as a landlord. And so playing politics, we used to wear the shirts that if you're in real estate, you're in politics, whether you like it or not. And I think that's the reality of things. You got to have good relations with the people that make the rules, and the state associations, the local associations, they understand what's going on locally. And it's been an honor to serve with the 120,000 realtors we have in Texas that are trying to make a difference for our clients and our customers.
Wow. That's incredible. Congratulations to you, Bryan. Thank you so much for being on 10 Minute Labs.
Thank you.
lab coat agents. I'll see everybody tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Good night.
Good night.